Cthulhu, the Serpent Lord, yearns to fight alongside you, but has been captured by Zarok and sealed within a chest. Free this mighty spirit and earn a powerful ally. The corn-cutting machine is missing a part. A cog fell off this miracle of modern agriculture, and it hasn't worked since.
pumpkin gorge, dead ahead. The nursery to Gallowmere's favourite side dish. Step inside and understand the true horror of fruit gone bad. It's the Hall of Heroes.
Fortescue, you jawless arrow magnet! What are you doing back here? What? Call me Mr. Woden the Mighty! How I pity the people of Gallowmere, that their fate should once again be in the hands of a chump like you! Still, I suppose it's not fair to take it out on them. Take my sword, and do try not to stab yourself in the foot. You know, I've always had my doubts about you, Fortescue. You're just not carved from hero material.
Poor villagers. The master possesses them. It mustn't hurt them. Hurt guards, though. They seek out an object of great power.
A crucifix once stood here, but the mayor took it. Find a replacement and see how the church should really look. The rune key is held aloft by the flow of water from the fountain. You may have to wait for the next drought. History of Gallowmere, Volume 1. During the dark time that was Gallowmere's not too distant past, it was King Peregrine who thwarted Zarok the Necromancer and his plan to enslave the land. Zarok, once the king's mage, had fallen out of favor with the ruler for conducting outlandish experiments on the bodies of the dead. It was said that deep within Peregrine Castle, the dead were restless. The dead are to be honored, not kept as the playthings of alchemists, declared King Peregrine as he banished Zarok from the castle. All of Zarok's living dead were routed out and destroyed. Zarok, being an unforgiving soul, went into hiding and vowed to wreak his revenge on the king. History of Gallowmere, Volume 2. Rumors of ill-doing and dark deeds abounded through the land of Gallowmere. It was whispered that Zarok had employed the aid of shadowy demons to help build a vast castle. Under the cover of night, Zarok's dark army spilled forth from their corrupt haven. The army marched south across the Silver Mountains and through the Silver Woods. Soon afterwards, even the Pumpkin Lands belonged to Zarok. The folk of Gallowstown cried out for help. "Save us, good King Peregrine." Retaliation was swift and violent. King Peregrine's forces, led by the brave Sir Fortescue, drove Zarok's army back from Gallowstown. Oh, there was much rejoicing, but the war was not yet over. History of Gallowmere, Volume 3. News that Zarok's army had now taken the floodlands caused much concern. From this vantage point, Zarok could march west to take the Enchanted Forest. This sacred place would prove a bitter defeat if it fell into the hands of the evil sorcerer. It was Sir Dan Fortescue who once again led the king's militia to rid the demon host from the land. Yet the evil wizard was cunning and had prepared an ambush. Titanic battle ensued, of which history has never seen the like. It is said that the day would have gone to Zarok, but for the skill and valor of one man. Fortescue led the charge deep into the massed ranks of the undead, felling Zarok's bodyguard, the fearful Lord Cardok, and before finally succumbing to his own mortal wounds, slew the traitorous sorcerer with a mighty sweep of his sword. History of Gallowmere, Volume 4. The forces of evil were destroyed, but at a terrible price. None but a handful of the king's militia returned from that field. Gallowmere lost a whole generation of young men that day, including Canny Tim, the legendary crossbowman, and Fortescue's second-in-command, who fell in the first volley of arrows. Zarok's body was never found, though if it lies unmourned in an unmarked grave, then no one in Gallowmere would shed a tear. The shadow demons that had fallen under Zarok's banner were unnatural creatures that did not belong in the world of mortal men. The king declared that they be banished, entombed under the pure earth of the enchanted earth. Imprisoned within an impregnable box of the king's design, the demons were buried deep underground. Their tomb was sealed with a magical device that has since come to be known as the Shadow Artifact. Tourist's Guide to Gallowmere, Part 1. The land of Gallowmere is a wondrous land of breathtaking sights and adventure. If it's beauty you are looking for, be sure to check out the sights of the Enchanted Forest. Scale the heights and see the nests of giant dragon birds. Seek out weird and wonderful plant life. Go ooh and ah at the sight of baby dragon toads splashing about in the crystal clear ponds. Why not take a walk through the Pumpkin Valley? Pumpkin is Gallowmere's favorite dish, and about now the valley is just bulging under the weight of young podlings awaiting harvest. Tourist Guide to Gallowmere, Part 2. If it's mystery you're looking for, then the seasoned adventurer should travel to the ruins of King Peregrine's castle. Yes, this is the fortress from which the fabled King Peregrine once hailed. It is said that the king's crown was lost in the dungeons below the castle, and that the ghost of the regent himself now haunts these cold stone passageways. Spooky. Why not take the swamps and seek out the mythical town of Mellowmead? This place was once said to be a place of fantastical arcane alchemy, but an age has passed since it was consumed by the murky swamps. Perhaps great treasure awaits any adventurer that can locate its watery resting place. Tourist... To whom it may concern, I must make haste, for Zarok's men will be here within the hour. I have taken the crucifix from the church. It is the key to a key. I used the cross to make the attached cast. Then I had it destroyed. It is my hope that this cast falls into the hands of a just and good hero. Signed, the town mayor. Heroes from History, a retrospective. Chapter 1. In addition to being the strongest man who ever lived, Stanyer Ironhewer was unsurpassed in his skill as a blacksmith. He was equally happy pounding on his anvil at home as he was pounding on someone's head in battle. It was said that his only fear was the end of the village smithy as the focus of manufacture, in favor of more centralized units. As if. Chapter 2. Born a humble peasant to one of the nomadic tribes from the Eastlands, Bloodmanoth Skullcleaver gathered an army of horsemen and swept over half the civilized world. When he finally died, attempting a single-handed attack on a garrison in the north while armed only with a spike on his helmet, he was the richest and most powerful peasant of his day. Chapter 3. Carl Sterngard spent most of his formative years under siege at his family castle. With his impregnable magic shield, Sterngard's motto was, "The best form of attack is defense." Sadly, his shield couldn't protect him against poor eating habits, and he died during a post-battle feast, while swallowing a large sausage he had failed to chew. Chapter 4. Truly the hero's hero, Woden the Mighty was fearless, single-minded, and uncompromising. Unbeaten in combat, he inspired raw fear in friends and enemies alike, not to mention in close family members and pets. Chapter 5. Trained from birth in all forms of combat, Imanzi Shongama was the warrior queen of a tribe of Amazons. The bold and the beautiful Shongama banished all males from her territory, except the handful she kept on to mow the lawns of her people. Chapter 6. A full-time mother and homemaker, Megwin Stormbinder had to defend her settlement from barbarian raiders while the menfolk were away on a hunting trip. She fought off repeated attacks, armed only with a pitchfork and a rolling pin, and with one arm holding her baby. Legend has it that the gods, impressed by her indomitable courage, intervened and added thunderbolts to her arsenal. She won the battle with a couple of bolts to spare on her husband when he finally returned. Chapter 7. Dirk Steadfast was a fearsome opponent thanks to his magic sword and a firmly held belief that only women defend themselves. Real men are always on the attack. He was a friend and contemporary of Karl Sterngard and was with him even to the end. It was whilst Steadfast was explaining his views on Sterngard's shield during a feast that the latter had his tragic and inexplicable accident. Chapter 8. Descended from the finest centaur Bloodstock, Ravenhooves the Archer was the last prince of his people. A proud and haughty aristocrat, he was an accomplished hunter, sportsman, duelist, playboy, raconteur, and 3 times Derby winner. Chapter 9. Captain of the militia in the time of King Peregrine, Sir Daniel Fortescue found fame when he killed the renegade wizard Zarok. A career soldier raised in the royal household, he was adored by the men under his command, and renowned for his loyalty to Gallowmere. It was said that Fortescue was always destined for greatness. With his square jaw, steely gaze, and thick shock of hair as black as raven's wings, oh, he looked every inch the hero.